Right then, let's talk about Kobbie Mainoo, United's next big talent. 17 years of age, defensive midfielder from Stockport. A bit of an eye-catching inclusion last week in the squad to face Newcastle. But what do we know about the young midfielder? He's a proper all-action midfielder that has got quality way beyond his years. He's a man that can control a game, create attacks. Could be the perfect fit for our midfield, given Casemiro's age and McTominay's bouts of questionable quality. Ten Hag referenced him in the inclusion. They said it's not just about experience. He goes, they have to deliver. You are here and to contribute to the team's success. So that's why he's here. Now, we know Kobbie's been a part of first team training for a while. The likes of Zidane Iqbal is also, and Garnacho also part of first team training on a regular basis. So it's interesting that his inclusion on the bench last weekend probably wasn't going to result in a debut, but I would think that, especially with the League Cup coming up, you might start to see more and more of him on the bench, and we might even see some minutes to get in the League Cup as well. Now, we've got, I would say midfielders is what United specialises in. When you look at the amount of academy graduates that we've had over the years, midfield seems to be the place that we pull out the most. And in recent years, we've had the likes of James Garner, Mason Greenwood, Rashford, McTominay, etc. to come through, just to name a couple. And there's quite a few that have come through that find themselves part of the first team squad at the moment. But few have really sort of burst onto the scene in a way that Mainoo has. And Twitter's absolutely raving about the guy. He's been added to the UEFA B list. And for the under-23s this season, he's been absolutely quality. Probably for most people sort of burst onto the scene during the FA Cup run last year where he was outrageous. For the 23s, like I said, he's been dominating in the middle of the park, constantly putting the forwards through on goal. Played 7 times this season, despite being only 17, and it does not look out of place. He scored twice in the process. He's played 34 games for the under-18s, got 4 goals and 2 assists to his name. Defensive midfielder, so you're not expecting tons of goals. But he's clearly earning himself an upgrade in the tougher league, and he's clearly earning himself the praise and the attention of the manager. As well as this, he obviously scored a couple of goals on the way to the FA Youth Cup final last year. Now, the highlights of him are incredible. He throws in heavy challenges, he comes away with the ball, and then he puts in a quality pass forward. United's problem for years has involved the midfield in one way or another. It's either too poor at attacking or too poor at defending. And a player like Mainoo, especially with someone like Casemiro to learn from, could potentially solve a couple of the problems at the same time. He's an effective defensive midfielder, and he's an effective progressor of the ball. He would probably stop some of the short-term panic buys. His ceiling is far higher than that of the likes of, well, certainly Fred or McTominay, who find themselves playing so many games for United. Ten Hag likes to develop younger talents, and I think this could be one of the ones that finds his way into the first team. One of the sort of Ajax boys that we sort of saw Ten Hag bringing through. I think Mainoo really fits the bill as being one of those sorts of players. You know, he turned Frenkie de Jong and Donny van der Beek into great midfielders. I think he can do the same with Kobbie. We know that he's been compared to Pogba, and I see some similarities in how they carry the ball, but for me, he's a much more well-rounded player than Pogba. Pogba's ability is obviously up here compared to Mainoo's, but Pogba couldn't do the gritty side that Mainoo does naturally. You know, he can receive the ball in tight spaces. I think he's an expert at drawing time and space when he gets the ball, even from difficult situations, even when pressed. And generally, you get the central midfielders that can be comfortable playing defensive midfielder or attacking midfielder. You get a lot of that. But rarely do you get the physical attributes, the mental attributes, and the sort of passing attributes that you get in one package here with Mainoo. He likes to beat people with a dribble in the middle of the park. He likes to smash people with a physical tackle. He cuts about the place and puts the distance in. He's got great vision. He's got great awareness. Awareness that you would expect way beyond the years that he is. And he makes progressive and splitting passes, 2 key passes and 18 forward passes in last month's Youth Cup game against Carlisle. He takes the ball off players like they're not there. 7 tackles, 5 interceptions, only dribbled past once in that last game. Like we said, excellent vision and technical ability overall. The guy's 17, but he's built like a brick shithouse. This is a player that could genuinely be one of the ones that Ten Hag is able to bring into the first team. And there's a couple on the cusp. I think Garnacho is a very exciting player that I think they'll either use his inclusion to get him over the line with his contract, or they will get his contract signed, and then we'll, as part of that contract, we will see him given minutes in the first team, I think. Zanite Ball is another one. Charlie Savage is another one. And I think Teren Mengi, now he's back from his injury, could be another one that you've got that can just pad out the team a little bit, especially when there's injuries. But one thing I've not seen from Ten Hag just yet is I've not seen us giving these lads the minutes. It's all right putting them on the bench, but give them the minutes. Even if it's 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, it starts to count. And it starts to really see what these players are about. And it eliminates the doubt. You're sitting there and you've got a player who's been on the bench 4 times and you've never thrown him in. You essentially know nothing about the player. Whereas if you give him 5 or 6 minutes and he impresses and someone goes down injured, you have less qualms about throwing this kid in. So even just for your own mind, I'd love to see these thrown in. Love to see what these guys can do. Kobbie Mainoo, surprise inclusion on the bench at Newcastle. Very, very, very exciting prospect. Let's hope that Ten Hag has got his eye on making him into something a bit special. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.